Art time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Art Time Live. My name is Bridget, and I'm here at Waterfall Arts in beautiful Belfast, Maine on this lovely Tuesday. Thank you for joining us. If you are out there, please let us know what your name is and maybe where you are watching us from so I can say hello. Today we are going to have a guest artist named Joan, but as usual, we'll get started with our art activity first so that when our hands are busy, we can go see her and say hello and look at some of her artwork today too. That's going to be super fun. Today's activity, as you saw, is magazine mosaic. And there's a mosaic. Most mosaics, as we'll see in a minute, are actually made out of tile. So we're just going to have a little cute shortcut, how to make something that looks kind of like a mosaic with stuff that you have at home. Speaking of stuff that you have at home, let's take a look at what we'll need today. And you can run around in your house and grab it. I got a few different kinds of glue today because I'm not sure what kind of paper you're going to be using at home. So I brought some white glue and some glue stick and some, I don't know what you call this other clear stuff. And my hand cam is super slow today. Oh my gosh, that's weird. We'll let that catch up to us. And then I just brought along a whole bunch of different kinds of papers. I'm wondering what kind you have today. I brought, it's taken forever. I have some magazine paper. So if you have a magazine, that works. Doesn't matter what's on it because we're just looking for color. So I found some greens, found some yellowish stuff, some blue stuff, orange stuff. So if you have a magazine, that's awesome. That'll work. If you have construction paper scraps, perfect. Those little scraps that you never know for this. Hey, does anybody have these at your house? These are great to use for this because it's kind of thick, so it will feel like a tile. So that's cool. And I said construction paper. I didn't have any around, but this is cardstock, and these look like really nice kind of fancy pieces to be using, but somebody chomped away at the ends of them. So I'm just gonna use some of the scrappy stuff at the very bottom of these pieces for my mosaic tiles. Scissors, important today. Get some scissors out. You don't really need something to draw with-ish, depending on what kind of artist you are. I have a pen, but if you have a pencil or something, that might help you out a little bit. And then I have a couple bonus items for like professional paper mosaic. One of them is called an awl, which I'm going to use to pick up my paper tiles because I have giant hands. And another thing is a pair of tongs to pick up my little pieces. Most of y'all got teeny tiny little fingers. You are fine. Just doing what you're doing. I wanted to say thank you to our helper, Ava, who may or may not still be online with us. I'm not sure. I wanted to say hello to Joan, who is out there waiting for her big guest appearance. She'll be on in a little bit. And to everybody else, comment, give us your name, say hello and where you're watching us from. And in a little bit, I'm going to ask you what kind of materials you have at your house, just so I can use whatever you're using or something similar to it. And you can ask me if you need any help. All right. Before we get to our art project, we like to play a little game called What Is It? So when we play What Is It? I show you an item and you have to use your imagination to decide what it might be. Now, you probably don't know what today's item is, and that makes it easier for you, because sometimes if I showed you something like this and said, what is it? It would be really hard for you to not say it's a pen. But today's item is this. It is made of glass. You can hear that. It's round. It's got like a bowl shape, a concave shape to it. It's flat here, and that's what the bottom of it looks like. So you tell us, what is it? If you've never played this game, I'll put it a different way. If an alien were to come down from outer space and ask you, tell me what that magical item is, I need to know, and you didn't know what it was, you could make up an answer and tell the alien that. What would your answer be for this item? If you have an idea, put it in the comments and we'll come back around to that. Even if you're watching the video at a later time, you are welcome to put in a comment and I will respond later. No problem. I still check the comments all the time. Okay, a little bit about mosaics before we get started, and then we pay a visit to Joan. I do want to say, by the way, that Joan does have a guess for what is it. Might as well share it here. It's a magical bar of soap. Let me hold it up. When you touch it, you get magical powers. And I do like the way your fingers kind of fit in there. You could sit your fingers in and get magical powers. I'm wondering if I get to choose the magical powers. Well, I could do this all day. This is very nice. If I kind of swirl around in there, maybe I could wish for a power. Joan, well done. Every time we see Jana on there, we're talking to Joan, just so you guys know. All right, excellent. Let's take a look at our pictures for today. I'm going to show you some pictures that I found of mosaics. And I think I mentioned before, real mosaics are actually made out of tile. So can I show you a couple of pictures of that? Mosaics that were made out of tile could be super, 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 super old. As a matter of fact, some of the oldest mosaics that they found were from the year like 700. And we're in the year 2021. So that's really old because they could make their artwork outside, out of glass tile, out of shells, out of pottery, and it would last and last. They didn't mind the weather at all. So one of the oldest but most amazing ones, there's a bunch of them in Mesopotamia that you could look up, but check this out. You might be thinking, oh, wow, that's a fancy carpet. Guess what? That's tiles. It's over 7 million tiles, people. I'm serious. This is on the West Bank, which is a place that is in the news right now an awful lot. You should check out Mosaic West Bank and you'll see some amazing things. And it's hard for me to show on my screen, but you'll be able to zoom in and see that those are teensy, teensy, tiny tiles making up a picture. Let me show you another kind of mosaic. This one is in Spain. This is by this guy Gaudi. And check out, do you know what animal this was supposed to be? This is called El Drac. And it's pretty big. There's not a picture of a person next to it, but it's bigger than Joan, that's for sure. And this, you can see all of the orange pieces and blue pieces are kind of irregular shaped. That's because it's made out of pieces of broken glass that were all stuck onto cement. So sometimes people make mosaics out of broken dishes or pottery, or like I said, broken shells. But today, we are just going to use some paper, but we're still going to use a bunch of little bits to give the impression of an image. So now let's look at a couple of pictures of artwork that was created by artists using paper. This one, it's not the greatest picture, but you get the idea. This person, to make their paper look like tile, they ripped up their paper. So it looks like they had a piece of pink paper and they ripped that up to bits, and a piece of blue paper and they ripped that up to bits, and green and yellow, and I think I see some tiny bits of red. And after they had their piles of paper, they arranged them on a nice black background to make what looks like a lizard to me. Now this person had several kinds of blue paper and they chopped them up with their scissors into rectangles. So those really look like tiles, don't they? Maybe you have tiles in your kitchen or in your bathroom. They drew a picture of a bird, a very simple picture, and then they glued their colors where they needed them. I'm going to show you one last one. This one, the artist took pieces of, I think magazine paper maybe, and instead of ripping them up or cutting them into rectangles, they actually made the shapes that they wanted to make their flowers. Can you see how the petals of each flower are cut from a different piece of magazine paper? And if we get closer, when this artist was done, they covered their whole artwork with all these magazine pieces with some super duper shiny clear glue, and it really looks like glass. I thought that was such a great idea. Maybe that's something that you can try today. Oh, that's Joan's artwork. I don't want to show that yet. Joan, we're saving that for later. Okay, everybody, so let's start by getting out some colored paper and chopping up some tiles. We're going to call them tiles. Let's try my hand cam again and see how that goes. There we go. I have two backgrounds with me. I found this scrap of blue or black, and it's got some blue swirlies. I don't care. I'm just going to glue stuff on top of it. And I found this old folder. I thought this would be nice to glue stuff onto. I don't need to use the whole thing, but if you're an artist that likes to work big, you might as well. I think for my mosaic, I would like to cut out things that look like tiles. Maybe if you want to do the kind where you rip up a bunch of each color, you can do that and show us how it comes out. But for me, I'm going to start going through my scraps. And I'm going to make a choice. Am I going to make all kinds of random snippets like this? Or am I going to make square tiles or rectangle tiles? It's up to you, artists, whatever you want to do. I find that if I do a design that's all squares, I end up having to make some random stuff anyway. So maybe I'll just go random bits. Now you might have an idea for a picture that you want to do. Can I give you a hint? Keep it simple, especially if this is your first time making a mosaic. We always say when you're learning a new technique, there's not pressure to make something beautiful, right? This is just your practice. So I don't know what my idea is yet. I really like this color, so I'm actually gonna cut some more. And don't worry about the shape of your little tiles, it doesn't matter. If you're using your magazines, you are doing the exact same thing. You just pick which color you want to use. Doesn't matter if there's writing on it. And you can just chop, chop. You could do nice big pieces if you want. So you can tell there's no wrong way to do it, right? I showed you pictures of all different kinds of mosaics that you can make out of paper. But the general idea is you're using pieces of color and arranging them to make a picture. We're pretending that they're tiles that we're moving around on some cement. So today I'm going to use this kind of thicker stuff. I'll save these magazine pieces for later. I think I'll just do a couple of colors. I like how these two go together. When I have scraps like this in my scrap bin, I find it sort of difficult to work with. So I'm just going to chop, chop. Maybe another artist would like to use that for a collage, right? That's pretty cool. Get out of here. I don't want you. And I'm just going to do snip, snip. And what's nice is if you end up feeling like you need another little piece for your mosaic puzzle, that's fine. You can make whatever shape you need to fit. I'm going to show you what I mean by that in a minute. So I have a nice little pile of purple. I wonder if the artists at home are just doing one color or two colors or lots of colors, rainbow. Since I don't know what my idea is yet, I'm gonna keep cutting some more pieces. All of these colors look pretty good together, so I'm just gonna use these. Some of you might be inspired by that bird. If you know how to draw the shape of a bird, maybe that's what you'd like to do today. If you know the shape of a heart, or a star, or a random pattern, a geometric design, all of those things would work, right? Why not? But it's not like I'm gonna try to create the Last Supper, which somebody actually did, or some kind of really complex picture. I'm just gonna keep it simple. I wonder if anyone watching has a mosaic at their house, maybe in their kitchen or in their garden. Mosaic stepping stone. I don't know. There's my collection. I like how they look on the black background, but I think I'm also gonna like how they're gonna look on the green. Let me see. You just dumped my tiles there. And if you're just joining us, give us a comment and let us know who you are and where you're watching from, and if you're making a mosaic with us today. So I have this nice coral color and lime color and a purpley color. That's pretty cool. Now maybe just to get my imagination working, I can start moving these around. It already looks like a mosaic. That's pretty cool. The difference between a mosaic and the collage, in this case, is that because we're pretending these are tiles, like glass tiles that we're pushing into cement, you want some space between the pieces, just like we saw on this one. You see the black between all of the pieces so people can tell how much work we put into our project. So when I have my tiles, I'm going to call them, glued down, I'm going to leave some of this black. I'm fitting it together like a puzzle. I'm going to leave the black showing. Do you know what I mean? Like that. Now I could just be random. Uh-oh. It disappeared for a second. Sorry about that. I could just be random and glue stuff down. But let's do something simple. How about if we draw a pretty simple shape, a star, or I'm going to try a heart right now. And it's not going to be perfect, and I don't care. See, I got a lumpy. I don't know if you can see that, but this is like the worst heart ever. It doesn't matter because I'm gluing paper all over it. No one's even going to see it. Okay. When you have a shape drawn on your paper, my tip to you, mosaic artists, is to start by putting some glue around the edge, just one section of the edge. And let's see what kind of glue. I'm going to use this stuff for fun. I never use it. I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the edge of one area because I don't want it to dry up. And then I'm going to start putting my pieces right up against the edge because that's the trickiest part, really. You want people to be able to see a line of sorts so you can make a smooth row of tiles around the edge of your shape. And I'm finding some of my tiles are too big. It's going to make this look very wonky, so I think I'm going to make my heart even bigger. So I'm starting to go around the edge of the heart. Can you see that there? This is very relaxing, and it's fun to do with somebody else. You can have two friends helping out, and it will go faster. But this is a nice thing to do. When you don't want to think too much, you just get your design going, and then the rest is just placing tiles. And then we continue on like that. And some of you might be doing ripped paper, yeah? And some of you might be doing little square tiles. I can show you what that would look like if you like. I'll put a little bit more glue, and let's say I had all rectangles. We'll just make a row of rectangles. Or squares. Boop, boop. It's kind of fun to cut little squares. That looks pretty cool too, doesn't it? Boop, boop. Kind of like that better now that I'm looking at it. So friends, I'm going to let you keep working on your mosaic. Wow, it's hard to stop. I keep thinking, I just want to put one more piece down. After you go around the outline of your shape, then you can start filling it in. And that's when you might start having to, let me get some glue here. You might have to start making custom shapes to fit into your empty spots. Squares fit together very nicely. I'm going to let you problem solve that by yourself though, because that's what we artists do. Now I see Joan in the backstage studio, and she's going to give me a thumbs up if she's ready to come on and say hello. Okie dokie. So artists who are watching out there, you keep working, and I'm going to chit chat with my buddy Joan for a little bit. You don't need to see my elbow while I do it. Hello, Joan. How are you?
Good.
Good. Joan, can you tell everybody how old you are?
7.
7 years old. And when's your birthday?
November 11th.
November 11th. Excellent. Hey, do you want to tell everybody what town you live in?
Belfast.
Belfast. Me too. Just like me. Just like where Waterfall Arts is, right? Well, guess what? I have a bunch of your artwork that I wanted to share with people who are watching. Is it okay if I share it?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And then maybe you can say a little bit about each one. So here we go. It's like we're going on a little gallery tour of Joan's work. Here we go. I'm going to try to hide behind it. Do you remember making this one, Joan?
Yes. I made it last year. I made it at school. It's a turtle, and
this looks like a collage. Isn't this a collage?
Yeah.
But also a drawing too, though, right?
Yes. I did it in different parts.
Uh-huh.
And I made it so you can get like something with that picture on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is this the one where the artists at your school were allowed to make artwork and then it could be printed like on a note card or something like that?
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, I have a question. I was looking at the background of this. Is that a painting that you glued stuff onto?
Yes.
Excellent.
Like I said, I did it in layers.
Yeah, layers. And is that with your art teacher, Mrs. Brown?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Mrs. Brown, for the cool projects. How about this one, Joan? Who's that?
Me.
Self-portrait of Joan, obviously. When did you draw that?
This year.
This is some recent work because it looks pretty sophisticated. How about this rainbow painting? Is this recent or from long ago?
I made that last year with my grandmother. Miles made one too.
Uh-huh.
It was different.
He made his own different kind of artwork.
Mm-hmm. It's a painting of a rainbow. I didn't have orange, so I went red, yellow.
Yep. There's no wrong way to make a rainbow. It doesn't have to be scientifically accurate, right? This is your artwork.
No.
As long as it looks right to you, it's fantastic. How about this? This is something totally different.
I made this at school. It's I made it for my brother for Valentine's Day. It's a heart. You can put something in it. I made it out of clay.
You use a lot of different materials, Joan. That's very impressive. Good for you. I have something else to show that I also thought was very impressive. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at now?
A jungle. I made this at school too. And I did it in layers too. I did the background. I did the sky. Yeah. And then the plants, and then the flowers and fruit, and then the animals.
Wow, this one just feels alive. It really does. There's so much going on in there. I think this might be my favorite one that we're looking at today. Thank you for sharing that. And go ahead.
Some of the snakes look like plants. Like that's a plant. So one of the plants is actually a snake.
Okay. Which is like real life too, isn't it? Because you've got those plants that are really good at kind of impersonating.
Is a bush that looks like a tiger.
Yeah.
The tiger's house.
Okay, got it. I would not have seen that if you hadn't told me. That's hidden really well in there. Speaking of hidden really well, this next piece reminds me of my favorite artist, Hundertvasser. Can you tell us a little bit about what you made here?
I made this at, I think, in the beginning of this year. We copied this off an artist, and he made a picture about a cat. It was a cat with a bird on top of its head. And I made a cat and the bird.
Joan, do you remember what materials you used for this piece of artwork?
I used art sticks. They're like crayons mixed with pastels, and but they're squares, not circles. Or cones. Squares.
Well, I think that really inspires artists at home to use a bunch of different stuff on their artwork too, right? You don't have to just pick one thing. You could do mixed media work like you've been doing. Can I show one more? Okay. This one's going to come up in the middle so we could both be seen. Tell us about this.
I made this also at school. And it's a picture. My art teacher brought in some flowers in a vase, and we kind of like copied them, and we needed 4 or more flowers in them.
Yep.
I used pastel.
Joan, do you remember what it's called when you're drawing or painting something that is right in front of you, that's laid out on the table?
I forgot.
It's called a still life. So you did a still life of flowers in a vase, and it looks both real and kind of better than real because you captured the ishness of those flowers really well. And I like that you used all warm colors except for the vase that they're in, which is that cool blue.
And the flowers were actually in a teapot, not a vase.
Oh, so you got to improvise a little bit with your imagination. That's pretty cool. Excellent. Well, I always like to ask our guest artists, if people out there don't have questions, do you have some advice that you could give to artists out there who maybe they can't think of what to draw, or maybe they get really frustrated when they're doing artwork? Just what's some advice that you use when you're being creative?
If you get mad at what you draw and if you did it wrong, you shouldn't get like another piece of paper. You should use the back and erase.
Yep, you could keep working with what you have, right? After you are done being angry, you could work with it or flip over that paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
But especially when you're at school or maybe you're at home with a sketchbook, you can't be going a new piece of paper every time. When you're just practicing, you'll go through all of your paper. Use the paper that you have. Sometimes you can do more than one piece of artwork on just the front of your paper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then cut it when you're done. You could have 4 pieces of artwork from one piece of paper. That's a great idea. Any other closing words for artists who are watching? Or are there any shout outs that you want to give to the audience? Any family members that you want to say hi to? Nope. Well, Joan, thank you so much for being on. Oops, I just disappeared. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I disappeared into the darkness. Okay, Joan, let's finish our mosaics, but wave goodbye to everybody. We loved having you on this week. Thank you very much. Joan, everybody. Round of applause. Love that artwork. Really enjoyed watching all that stuff, looking at all of her artwork. So thank you, Mom, for hooking us up with that too. Now let's take a look at, do you remember that we were doing mosaics earlier before we got sucked into Joan's world? We were working on gluing down our paper tiles. Now, even though I put plenty of glue on here, my pieces are raising up. In real life, if I weren't busy doing this show, as soon as I had my pieces glued down, I would put a piece of maybe wax paper on here, and I'd put a book on top. And then this will look super flat. But I'm wondering if you have created an outline using your paper tiles, and then if you manage to fill it in, and without gluing, I'll just show you how that can be tricky. Well, that's actually a good fit. And let's see how my puzzle comes together. Ooh, that's a good fit. Now, I have a little piece in here. I'm going to dig through and see if I have a triangle. Look at this. Oh my gosh, that's a perfect fit. But if you don't have something that's a perfect fit, no problem. Just cut what you need. It's not a perfect fit, and I'm letting go of it. I like it. So I'm obviously not gluing stuff down, but I'm just going to fill it in here so you can see what's up. And for me, after I filled in my heart mosaic, I would definitely, because I love how these colors go together, let's pretend I finished this. I would definitely fill in the background with this color. Look at how cool it looks when the colors are right up next to each other. And then you can really see the heart happening. It looks a little bit like a strawberry with just some green up there. Mosaics. There's so many ways to do it. I hope that when you are finished with your artwork, you will share it with us. There's a bunch of different ways that you could share your artwork with us. You could message me at our Instagram account at Waterfall Bridge. You could also email it to me if you want. Here's my email address right there along the bottom of the screen. And you could just take a picture of it if you're on Facebook and put it in the comments. And lots of people who watch the video later like to do that because they can see what other people made too. So that's pretty fun. Would you like to be a guest on my show? I would love to have you as a guest. If so, let me see if I can, well, I'll just put up my email again. If you want to be a guest, just drop me a line, email me, or you could even comment. I think that's how we got connected with Joan. And we're going to do a few more episodes. Check out what we're doing next week, everybody. All you need is some oil pastels and a pen. We're going to do a doodle, but look how it comes out. Whoop, I'll just do it here. What? Rainbow drawing. So cool. So don't forget to bring your oil pastels next week. And we're ending this just in time because there's major construction happening at Waterfall Arts right now. It's getting really loud, but let me remind you, everybody. Whoop. We have a really big fun party coming up on June 12th at Steamboat Landing here in Belfast, Maine. It's free. Bring your family, and we're just going to goof around. Bring a picnic. You can come up on stage. Joan, I hope you'll think of a great joke to tell. Come up on stage and tell your joke into the microphone. There's going to be all kinds of silly things happening. So check the Waterfall Arts website or Facebook page for more information about that. Everybody, as usual, I had a really great time with you. And like I said, I'll see you next week to do the cool oil pastel thing. We're going to do a couple more and then see if people still want to join us in the summer. Okay. Let us know about that too in the comments if you like. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great and creative week.